Two strange worlds are opening up to all of us today. One is the world beneath the sea. The other is the alien world of outer space. Strange as it may seem, there are many things that both these worlds have in common. There are problems of adjustment to unusual sensations, such as weightlessness or the release from the force of gravity in both elements. That's why I was called in on one of the space projects and commissioned to experiment underwater with 4 top candidates for space travel. I was to train them to function in isolation while breathing compressed air and to teach them how to deal with the unexpected. The 4 young pilots checked out well in our offshore experiments. Dr. Adams, a specialist in space medicine, and I agreed that they were ready for the big test.
The point is to think before you act, especially when you're in a strange environment. That's what you fellas are training for, a strange environment. All right, Doc, let's open up those orders for phase 3 of Operation Moondive, huh? Hold this chart for me, huh? All right. The Research Institute has set up a supply dump. It's located in the bottom of the ocean in 60 feet of water. See enclosed chart. There it is. Now that supply dump is about 30 miles... Yeah, about 30 miles in from the sea, from the coast there. You'll do mental and physical exercises down there for a solid 6-hour stretch. Oh, boy, 6 hours. You'll also eat down there. And you'll exchange your partially filled air tanks for fresh ones at regular intervals. One of you will remain above on the boat as a safety man. And he'll get regular weather reports on the radio. Well, that's very important because we'll be in the area where most of the hurricanes start. This is the season for them, too. Good luck to you, signed John Martin. Well, looks like we got our work cut out for us, fellas.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, especially that 6-hour stretch. You fellas knew what you were volunteering for. You knew it wasn't going to be easy.
We moved out to sea and dropped anchor 30 miles out. I went down to check on our underwater supply dump. There it was, our underwater outpost. A storehouse of scientifically prepared and packaged food and medicine. Also, the usual underwater equipment like air tanks and flares, and many items never used underwater before.
How's it look down there?
They got everything. It'll be like checking into a first-class hotel. Only it'll be 60 feet down. You get the weather report yet?
Oh, no. Operation Moondive calling Weather Recon. Come in, Recon. Weather Recon, this is Operation Moondive. Come in, please. Mike, we've got troubles.
There's no filament voltage. Maybe it's a transformer.
Have we got a spare?
No. We're gonna have to fix it.
Might be just a loose connection.
I hope so. No weather report, no diving.
Well, look, I'm stuck here as safety man anyhow, and the rest of you guys are ready to dive. Well, I majored in electronics. Why don't you let me take a crack at it?
Okay. We'll go on down. You give yourself about an hour. If you can fix it then, get the weather report and come on down, huh?
An hour should be plenty.
I better be. I like being stuck in this area without a weather report.
We went down in military style. Discipline was part of the test. The men were just as surprised as I had been in the sight of an underwater depot. It seemed confusing, but every flask, every container had a specific and vital purpose. My first instructions were to give the men simple problems in algebra. The idea was to see how much the difficult breathing and strange environment would interfere with their concentration. Dr. Adams helped me to observe their reactions and score their performance. The next phase of our experiment was to learn how difficult it was to take adequate nourishment underwater to survive. We tried various methods. We discovered that the simplest action could be difficult at 60 feet. It was a problem to swallow the food capsules. The compressed air made our throats dry, even with all that water around us. We found the easiest method was to sip liquids from the plastic bottles. I kept looking up, hoping to see Ed. I thought that all of our problems were underwater, not knowing that 30 miles away and 20,000 feet up, a Hurricane Hunter plane was reporting the formation of a storm to its base.
Looks bad. Something's forming up out there. Send out small craft warnings.
The Hurricane Hunter had flown into the eye of a storm that turned out to be of hurricane force.
We're heading into the storm area now, Commander. It's a big one. Looks like a hurricane heading due north at 15 knots. Over.
Over and out. Issue general warnings to all craft. That research outfit is directly in its path. Calling Operation Moondive. Calling Operation Moondive. Come in. This is urgent. Come in, Moondive. Come in, Moondive. Do you read me, Moondive? This is urgent. Come in, Moondive.
This is Moondive. Go ahead.
There is a hurricane approaching. Head for shelter at once. Over.
Roger. Radio was out. Others underwater. Must warn them. Over.
Make it fast. You're running out of time. Over and out.
The next phase of the test was playing games, but with a serious purpose. Still testing coordination. Suddenly, Ed appeared with the worst possible news on his slate. I signaled to the group to follow me to the surface. I swam ahead, up the anchor line. At 20 feet, I could feel the turbulence. When I saw the slack anchor line coming down, I knew that the winds had torn our boat loose. Unless we could find it, we were at the mercy of the storm. I tried to reach the surface to look for the boat. The turbulence hit me like a sledgehammer. I had the fight of my life to get out of it and go back down. The underwater survival test was no longer just an experiment. Using the Morse code, I told them that we had to remain below until the hurricane had passed. That this might mean an indefinite number of hours underwater, and the conservation of our limited air supply was now the difference between living or dying. This meant making no unnecessary movements at all. I kept some of the bad news to myself. I didn't tell them that the cold water would steadily drain the heat from our bodies, or that nitrogen narcosis might easily get us if we stayed down long enough. When I got through, we settled down and waited. Hours passed, and the air in our first set of tanks was used up. Switching from an empty air tank to a full one is a tricky piece of business, unless you've had experience at it. With the compressed air gone, the tanks became buoyant. I made sure that they didn't float away. I had a plan to use in case of extreme emergency. calculated the maximum time our air would last. The odds were heavily against us. I measured the temperature of the water. It was 55 degrees. Much too cold for us to last very long. To keep us warm, I distributed our last capsules of food concentrate. For all we knew, it was our last meal. The checkerboard had been originally built for use in our series of tests. Now, for a while, it helped keep up our morale. After sitting still for so long underwater, the cold began to get us. Tom started to shake uncontrollably. This was no longer a carefully controlled experiment. If Tom's body lost too much heat, he'd lose consciousness soon, which underwater means only one thing: certain death. We tried to massage him. Doc Adams took his temperature. Another new page in underwater medicine. Then he checked his pulse. His temperature was subnormal. To keep him alive, we'd have to increase his body heat. I broke out a flare. The heat from the burning magnesium gave him some relief. I sent up a marker buoy to help anyone who might be looking for us. The storm tore the marker buoy apart. There was nothing left for us now but to wait on in our prison and try to fight off the rising panic that could destroy us. Our air supply was dangerously low, and we were freezing as the water relentlessly sucked the heat from our bodies. I was praying that none of us would crack under the strain. Suddenly, Pete turned violent and tried to surface. We had to use up our precious air to subdue him and bring him down. Doc Adams went for his medical kit. He gave him a tranquilizing shot, but it didn't take effect immediately. Probably the first underwater injection. Sharks, the vultures of the deep, gathered as if sensing our doom. I used our last flare to startle the sharks into a temporary retreat, but I knew that they'd be back. Minutes were all that were left to us. Our air was almost finished. I calculated that we had just enough to get to the surface. If the storm was raging, we'd be killed instantly. But if we didn't go up now, we'd slowly suffocate. We had to take the chance. And luckily, we had some materials for a life raft. The empty tanks that I'd saved might now save our lives. It was agonizing work to build a raft in a state of shock. But we finally made it. And we moved up toward whatever was waiting for us on the surface. By the time we reached the surface, the waves had subsided. But we were still cold, and our strength was waning fast. We heard the sound of an engine. The Coast Guard hadn't forgotten us. A helicopter was approaching.